Hello, everyone, and welcome to Zobrio University's IT webinar on how regular security awareness training is important. Today we have John Quatto, an account executive here at Zobrio, to lead the webinar. If you have any questions, please leave them in the chat, which is located at the bottom of your screen, and we'll go over all questions at the end. Thank you, and I'll now hand it over to John.
Thank you, and welcome everybody to our security awareness training webinar. This is something that's near and dear to our heart here at Zobrio. Zobrio handles both software and IT, so we're very interested in securing our customers that have mission critical and very sensitive data that is key to running their organization, and we need to keep that secure. And give you a quick picture of our agenda, what we're going over here. We're talking about the importance of security awareness training for your employees. This is going to be what the focus is, less of the actually doing a security awareness training, but the importance of security awareness training. And we're going to go over with a couple of items that are key to be hit on in security awareness training. One of the key motivators in a lot of organizations putting in place security awareness training is the change in the security landscaping, specifically this year. And it's been exploding this year. It's been growing prior to that as well. So we find with our experience that training is an absolute necessity in fighting cyber attacks. What we're finding is the traditional firewalls and antiviruses are really, a lot of the attacks are email borne, so they're moving through and not getting caught. So email borne email is a huge growth area in this security landscape. And strong passwords. That's one of the easiest thing that an employee can do to protect your environment. And it's just really not done. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Security awareness is a shared responsibility. Oftentimes we find organizations that will do a security seminar and that'll be it, or give a quick training. But one-time training just doesn't hit the mark as far as what you need to make your employees the key element on the front line, make your employees your best defenders. Data security, an employee must realize that it's also part of their responsibility to secure the environment. Not just leave it to the IT guys, not just leave it to management, but they also have a share, and a very important share, in what to do to protect your environment. We talk about up-to-date training. You know, the environment changes fast and furiously. I always say, you know, in IT, time is scaled differently, especially in IT security, where, you know, a month is like a year, and 6 months to a year is an eternity, is a decade, and things are evolving so fast. So you need to have up-to-date training, and you need to have ongoing training that incorporates these new updates and these new threats and these new tools that employees will have to combat that. Business email compromise. This is a quick little fact that email business compromise, there's $177 billion worth of losses. That's an astronomical number. Email compromise attacks just continue to explode. And as we see the losses keep adding up and email compromises become really one of the most deadly or deadly for your business attacks that are out in the IT environment right now. So, as I mentioned in our introduction, malware and cyber attacks in this year have exploded, and we expect them only to continue to increase in 2020. We take a look at, again, malware based on cyber attacks based on COVID-related issues are big. What we're finding is that a lot of folks are getting emails saying, "Hey, for your cybersecurity payment, for your COVID payment, please click on this link. Go to this link for your PPP loan information. The state is offering a grant for cities and businesses to continue to function during the pandemic. Click on this link." So these are the types of links that are thrown in. These are the types of malware that are thrown in addition to the typical malware that we see on an average year. What we're finding also is that the bad actors, that the cyber criminals, as we might call them, are using social engineering to attack networks. So one of the things that we have to train employees is to watch for these. And we also have the ability of using AI to improve your organization's defense against cyber attacks. This artificial intelligence combats the social engineering attacks that your organization may be experiencing. We find a lot of attacks being email born, and they look, with social engineering, they look for the CEO, the mayor, somebody in authority. They also look to determine who writes the checks in your organization, and they touch those people. So again, it's not just a simple blanket attack. It's specifically targeted for people with specific roles. And again, it oftentimes utilizes the higher ups to ask a request of a employee that is below them, that functions below them to do a function, or a finance director. So this is what we're seeing, is these attacks aren't purely dumb attacks. They are specifically targeted toward specific roles. We have this question, and this question comes up on when we've had customers that had the Department of Homeland Security. They occasionally do an audit. They're very helpful with organizations to do an audit and determine what vulnerabilities are out there. So when we do an audit, or a third-party organization does an audit, what always comes up is your employees are either the asset or the liability. That's where training comes in. It's significant to have your employees trained to know what to click on and what not to click on. And again, this becomes more important with the greater growth in email-borne attacks. Your employees should know what to look for, what not to click on, what web pages not to go to, and to be able to recognize certain things about emails that are coming through, things that don't look right. Again, if you know Amazon.com and you get something that comes from Amazon.us, you'll know that the domain extension is wrong. In order to do this, it necessitates a need for the training of your staff. We find that there's a couple ways. One is in-person training. So some of our customers may have us come out and give a seminar once or twice a year to their staff in identifying, hey, create strong passwords. Hey, these are things to look for. These are things that are current threats that you need to be aware of. Another option that's out there, and I think so many people don't know this, we talked about using artificial intelligence to combat the bad actors' attacks. Automated security training is a really good choice. For instance, the one that we utilize in our company, it's an automated ongoing training. What they'll do is they'll send out some quizzes, some tests, some learning modules. They'll send out, for instance, phishing emails periodically, and it'll test your employees to see if they actually have responded or would click on a certain link. And then if they do, it sends them to additional training. So there are training modules, that come out periodically. There are test modules that come out. So this is a good thing, especially for an organization such as a city or a company with multiple shifts. You know, a lot of times with a city, county, the police, the sheriff, the ambulance department, people that you definitely want to train, they're not working, they're not there all at the same time. So it's very difficult to get an in-person training session together. So an automated security training that comes out the email that they can look at it when they have a chance, and, you know, whether they're a night shift person or a day shift person, they both have ability to access this training. You also get a report, trainings they took, and trainings that maybe they failed, and what actions were taken to route them to additional training. This is very good in the compliance section. We noticed that a lot of organizations, be it a business or government, they have compliance regulations, and security awareness training is becoming a huge portion of this compliance issue. We also find that when organizations have security training, they may actually, your insurance company may insist on it, but your insurance company also may give you a break in the premiums if you do these steps to take and secure your environment and train your staff. One of the options that I mentioned at the beginning is strong passwords. So although this is security training itself, this is a little bit of nugget that we really find is just a simple step that employers and employees can take to protect your environment. When we audit, when we do a security assessment, we recommend that not only are the passwords strong, password 123, you'd be surprised at how many password people have password 123, password is password 12345 is password ABC. You need a stronger password. The strong passwords will have a mix of capital and lowercase letters, will have special characters, will not be any common thing like your name, your birthday, any common features out there. Not only do the passwords be strong, they should also be changed frequently. And I know that's a very difficult situation for all employees, and we're all guilty of not wanting to change the password, because the minute you change your password that you've known for, maybe you used for the last 10 years, it makes it difficult and you forget it and you might have to reset your password. But very strong passwords are a key. Frequently changing passwords are very good as well, because that deters some of the abilities of these bad actors to get into your environment. As you can see on this chart, it doesn't take hackers very long to break a password. And the more complex the password is, bigger number of characters, and the variety of characters, let's say, much longer. 6 characters, lowercase and numbers instantly. Numbers in lowercase seconds. So these brute force attacks that just come in and, you know, attack your network by just inundating them with password options can quickly break a simple password. And if you look at this chart, it shows it all. So passwords are a key. It's a little nugget in security training, but it's one that's extremely effective as well. Our philosophy in protecting company against cyber attacks is prepare. So prepare and train your employees. That is the first line of defense. Your employees can be a huge asset in protecting your mission critical data. Again, with the growth of email-borne attacks and the fact that they are passing through traditional antivirus, traditional firewalls, and getting directly to the person being able to spot a bad email attack or spot a false email is key. Preventing the attack is the step 2. So we recommend, even though I had just mentioned that oftentimes traditional antivirus and firewalls, devices such as that, are email-borne attacks slipped by, not all of them do. Many of them are caught by antivirus. Your firewall can often detect the a ransomware, put it in a sandbox, and I always say that give it a little time because it doesn't always it'll speed up the time and open it in a controlled environment that doesn't spread it in your network. So firewalls, next generation firewalls with sandboxing and enforced antivirus are really a huge plus. Keep those antivirus and firewalls up to date. It's easy not to do, but when those updates come out, make sure you're continuing to update your firewalls as well as your personal devices. We find that devices that are out of date are a major security risk. Again, if you have Windows 7 PCs like so many people do, that's a security risk. It's no longer supported. It's no longer updated. Server 2008 is another issue, which you can prevent some attacks by upgrading and updating your software, your devices to, above Server 2008, which is no longer supported in Windows 7, and further back for both of them. That's a very, very, very key item to prevent attacks, because so many of these attacks we find are attacking unupdated software. So that's a huge vulnerability. We mentioned to protect your data with not only these things, these prevention items, but also backup. This is key. This is the keep in the castle. This is the last line. Your employees may be your first line of defense. Backup is your last line of defense. Even if there's an attack that's happened, you can go back if you have a very robust backup strategy, and it'll prevent a complete loss. You may lose a little bit of data, but your backup will be able to restore so much of your critical and historic data that you may need to run your organization or business. So backups are key. In summary, IT security is extremely important. and malware's on the rise, especially email-borne attacks. Your employees are the first line of defense. And remember, one of the easiest things, train your employees, and also one of the easiest things that you can do is have strong, effective passwords. So that's our webinar. If you'd like any more information on security awareness training, products that we have that can do automated training as well as training your staff, this is our contact information. Please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions, need any further information. We'll be happy to talk to you about this as well. So, Colleen, are there any questions?
It doesn't look like it. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. A recording of this webinar will be made available shortly. Thank you.
Thank you all.